Hi, everybody. It is Michelle Patterson, and we are here for the Real Share. We're doing the daily huddle, and I've got somebody who I've never met before who was introduced to me by my dear friend David Meltzer, and said, "You've got to have Darryll Stinson on your show." He's let me tell you a little bit about him, and I'm already starting to love on him and show a love fest. He got on, and he's like, "All right, this is going to be a good Friday afternoon conversation." So he's a thought leader on athletic transition. He's a dynamic TEDx speaker, hip hop artist, pastor, and certified John Maxwell coach. He shares his life experience of overcoming addiction, childhood rejection, mental illness, depression, and multiple suicide attempts to produce success in his life. Darryll played defensive end at Central Michigan University from 2008 to 2011, where he supported his team as they won an MAC championship, became a 23rd nationally ranked team. Darryll founded Second Chance Athletes, a holistic athletic transition company, in 2017 to help athletes who are passionate about making the world a better place to increase their visibility, impact, and revenue. When he's not working, Darryll enjoys rapping. Okay, I totally want to talk about that. That feels right to my wanting to be a DJ. Reading. I want to talk about the books that you love, Darryll, entertainment, music, sports, and just spending time with your wife and 3 beautiful daughters. So you got 3 girls.
I do, man.
All right, we got to start there, Darryll.
Yeah.
Let's start with the family.
Yeah, well, my wife is amazing. Met her at Central Michigan University, and we met when we both were not the best of people, and then life brought us back together after we kind of turned our lives around. So we've seen the worst, and we've got to see the best of each other. So she's amazing. She's got her master's in like strategic leadership or something. She's one of those like all A smart students.
Oh, well, I have to tell you, you need to let her know this, is that I'll meet my guy friends, and then they introduce me to their wives.
Yeah.
And we end up being best friends.
Oh, probably. You know what's funny is she went and checked out your website and everything because she's always curious of what I'm doing next. Because it's always so many people, right? And she's like, I like this lady. She's like, something on your website about everyone just wants to vibe.
Oh yeah.
And she's like, yeah, exactly.
It's all about the vibe, and it's just recognizing. And this is what I love, how diverse you are, and I love that your important thing to do is spend time with your wife, with your kids, because that's the biggest partnership that you'll ever have on this planet.
Absolutely. Yeah, my daughters are amazing.
She loves you too. It's like, the good, the bad, the ugly, and no one's going anywhere. It's like we're in this for the long haul.
Right.
Yeah, that is awesome. Well, I can't wait to meet her.
Oh, she's gonna love it. Yeah, you guys just don't send her clothing items, because she has a tendency to be best friends, and now she's buying everybody's makeup products and clothing items. So if you're one of those friends that's not gonna cost me a fortune, come on.
Well, let's put it this way, is that what will happen, I just true full disclosure, if you talk to me for more than 20 minutes, you're signed up for a charity, you're working on a massive global project, you're running North America's largest women's conference.
Oh, wow, really cool.
Really yeah.
Cool. No, really cool. Yeah, she'll love you then.
I don't like things, but what I love to do is I love to go big. I don't want to do anything small. We're putting on May 2nd, which is my 50th, and we're doing Love Fest 2020, where we are having the biggest love fest to hit the planet. And I would love to have you involved. And that's what I was talking about Meltzer about. And he's like, oh yeah.
So what is a love fest?
Oh, well, I'm so glad you asked. A love fest is what we're all experiencing right now. It's an opportunity for us to reset. It's an opportunity for us to come home and have real conversations with our family that is just doing nothing but bringing love into the conversation. No fear tactics. I was told 90 days. April 15th, I was told that I had 90 days to live. And that definitely did not sit with me, to the point I was like, all right, thank you for that information. But now I'm going to go check in with my friends and my wellness team family. And so you
Mm,
started talking, and I really appreciated you going there right away. Is just, you know, when you first met your wife, it's like we're not, I think, living to our full essence in
yeah,
why God put us on the planet.
right.
And I love that you just jumped right into that. And how did you know to start playing all out? And when did this start happening for you?
Well, I'm a case study of what it looks like to hit rock bottom. You know, a lot of people, I think they say that time is short, but I really feel like I have a different value of time, much like yourself. When you face death, it's something, it makes you appreciate life more. And so for me, being a suicide survivor, it was the fact that I survived multiple suicide attempts that gave me a greater appreciation for life. And I said, man, God, if you allowed me to live past swallowing a whole bottle of opioids, you allowed me to live past trying to starve myself to death, if you allowed me to live past the deepest pain, it had to be for a reason. And so I knew that I wasn't going to play it small. I
Mm.
just couldn't. There was no reason for me to be alive if I was going to play it small. And so I just committed myself to um, becoming the best that I could be and making the largest impact that I could make. And so that's what my true mission is, just to change lives.
Well, and thank you so much for sharing that too, because uh, and I get this feeling from you right now, and that is, I'll say to people, I would not trade this last year for anything.
Mhm.
A lot of tears, a lot of arguments, a lot of just coming to grips with who I wanted to be on the planet.
Mhm.
And I so appreciate how transparent you are and
Thank
not leaving anything on the table. I mean, it's almost as if these relationships that we have, whether it's meeting on a podcast, it's this mindset of we don't want to settle for anything.
you. Absolutely. And I think that's what it's all about, is for people to recognize that it's all about, there's this question that I ask the audience every time I go on an interview for the last probably 2 3 weeks. I've just been on this I found a way for people to gauge how much impact they're making, because you cannot control how many people follow you, how many people listen to you, how many people buy your products and services, how many people apply your advice, but you can control how much you give to the world. And so one of the questions that I've been challenging people to think about is, on a scale of 0 to 100%, how much of you are you giving the world? And that wasn't an original thought of mine. It was my wife and I were in this counseling session because we still see a counselor. It's just healthy.
It's help.
And
Thank
yeah,
you.
it's so healthy. It's so healthy. And so we weren't like on the brink of divorce or anything. We just, the maintenance. And so we were going back and forth about whatever. And Chip Judd, I don't know, he's a pretty well known counselor, does a lot of work with John Bevere, but he says to us, he says, Darryll, you have a lot more to give the world. And when he said that, I'll be honest with you, I was so offended. I was so offended because I was just like in marriage counseling, you're so one sided, right? I'm like, I'm giving everything. Like, I'm forgiving. I'm giving grace. I'm like washing dishes. I'm doing baths and diapers. What more can I give the world? Like, I will give somebody the shirt off my back. And he said that. And I tell you what, if you ever had
Especially, Darryll, especially in marriage counseling. Again, this is coming from somebody who's been married. I'm hitting 25 years. I can't wait for you, my husband, the four of us to get together,
uh
because it's going to be fun. I've got this couples group that I put together. So you're so in.
really cool. Let's do it. Let's do it. I love it, man. And we love that type of stuff because it's so much synergy that
Yeah.
goes around. Isn't it amazing how we think we're alone until we talk to other people and we realize we're more alike than what we think?
Yeah. Oh, completely. 'Cause I could totally see myself saying that. My husband's like really happy that the counselor is actually bringing this up during counseling.
Yeah.
All right. So tell me what I want to know what happened then.
Well, it just challenged me. It's like one of those moments where you go to a conference, you listen to a podcast, you read a book and something resonates at a deep level with you. That's what happened. Although initially I was offended, it struck me in a deep place. And I started to think about that. And we left the session and I asked my wife, I said, so that comment he made about I have more to give the world, do you think that? Because he wasn't just saying to my wife, he was also saying to the world, to others. And what shocked me, because I give so much to so many people. And you know what I found out is like he was right. He saw a level of love that I wasn't sharing with the world, a level of compassion that I had yet to trust the world with. And it was really a paradigm shift for me. And it caused me to reflect. And so I started to ask myself, on a scale of 0 to 100%, how much of myself am I giving the world? And at that time, I say I was probably at 50%. Right now, I say I'm probably at 8. The songs that, hip hop artists, I would have never called myself that. And even the last 2 songs I recorded was just a birthday gift from my wife. She just bought me some studio time because she knows I kind of like it as a hobby. But I did it, and then I was like, man, we should share this with more people than just us.
I
I
would
didn't.
love to hear that. In fact, what we do at the end is we listen to some music. So
Oh, fun
my
stuff.
husband said to me, he goes, because he loves to sing, but quietly, he does Neil Diamond, like incredible Neil Diamond. And I want him to do it for my May 2nd for my birthday.
Oh,
But
he
he's
can
like,
do it.
he said, he goes, do not like call people out on a podcast, Michelle.
It's okay. I've got prepared. I've
So I'm
learned.
giving you a little notice, Darryll.
Okay, I'm fine with it. I'll go the safe route. I know I've got a song that I did with my daughter. We recorded it when she was 5 years old. She's 6 now, and it's called "We All Need Hope," and it's all about. It was me writing a song to the things that I wish somebody would have said to me at her age. And so she sings "We All Need Hope" on the chorus. We'll kind of sing raps, and then I rap the chorus, or excuse me, I rap the verses. And so it's a really cool thing. And one of my best friends is on it. So yeah, it's called "We All Need Hope." It's on YouTube. You can check it out. I think I might have sent your team the links, but it's completely free just for your listening pleasure.
Oh yeah, we definitely
But
want to play that one at the end. Connor, let me know if you
awesome.
need him to send the link. That sounds awesome. And so
Yeah,
now how old is she?
she's 6 now. Yeah, and she's full of energy. She's just like her dad in terms of athleticism and charisma. It's so funny. I do these deep like posts, and it's so much content and value and tweetables. And I get X amount of likes or shares and retweets or whatever. She goes on and just yesterday she read a book that she kind of wrote for a class assignment for her digital learning. And everybody's like, oh my gosh, love, share, 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 comment, 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 comment. I'm like, come on. They love this girl. She's just, she is, man. She
Well,
is
we want to
definitely.
have her on. I want her to be on. Yeah,
Oh,
you sound like you guys talk about a dynamic duo.
yeah.
That
Oh
sounds
my goodness.
awesome.
The whole family is like, people are like, can you please do more on your profile with your girls? And I'm like, are you serious? I've got mental health tips, like quotes, application guides, free content, interviewing millionaires. And you want more of my daughters? They're like, yeah, they're so cute. So I'm like, okay, fine. Because they are, man. And you know what? I love it because it's not, I do think we need boundaries, but I think there's something about enjoying life together. Like if they were to bust through my door right now and just come in and completely hijack the podcast, it would be okay. Because I
I
don't ever
love
want
that you
them to
say
think
that too.
that this is more important than them, because it's not.
Well, and I think too, bringing that up right now, I mean, there is so much. First off, if you were like here right now, I would totally just hug you. Yeah, I want to, and then I would reach out to Dave Meltzer and
Yeah,
tell him thank you. I'm
yeah,
super excited to just go on this next chapter with you
yeah.
because I feel like I would actually say, because this is my jam and I'm an expert in putting together the superheroes on the planet. That's my purpose and why I'm here. And I've
Mhm.
been doing it for the last 30 years and putting together North America's largest women's conferences, took
Mhm.
over Maria Shriver's role. I mean, this is what I do really, really, really well in
Yeah.
recruiting, owned a recruiting company is, yeah, you, my friend, are a superhero.
Oh,
You
thank you.
you've got just this massive heart
Oh, thank you.
and you just want to be able to share your message. And I want to get back to a time when you didn't want to be on the planet
Hmm.
and what you were going through, because there's listeners that are coming on, myself included,
Hmm.
where it's not a pretty sight when you're hitting rock bottom.
Hmm.
Having gone through alcoholism, I don't have an off switch, so I don't
Hmm.
drink. I haven't for the last 3 years, coming up on 3 years. Best gift
Awesome.
I ever gave myself.
Awesome.
And I'm always, always interested in superheroes like yourself that took adversity and just did not let up, did not settle, and just totally loved on yourself and loved on your family and
Mhm.
got through it. Like, what
Wow.
advice, what could you share with our audience of just like, this is the how you can do
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. So number one, I would tell people, and this is a shameless plug, but just go listen to my TEDx talk. It's called Overcoming Rejection. What to do when people hurt you and life isn't fair. There's some good nuggets in there, and I've got a
And we'll
free.
post the links on below. I
Yeah.
can't wait. That's
Yeah.
what I'm gonna do this weekend. And
Oh
then I'll
yeah.
text you, Darryl.
Yeah. And it's so crazy. There's such a huge story around that whole event, but there's an application guide that I highly recommend anyone who struggles with low self-esteem, anyone who feels like they're a misfit or misunderstood, anyone who struggles with rejection or has struggled with rejection to go through it. Because my philosophy is this, is that underneath your deepest pain is your greatest treasure.
Mm.
And rejection is actually our friend, it's not our enemy. And I feel like at the place where we're the most unique and the most vulnerable, we're at the highest risk for the most rejection. Because if I'm being half myself and you reject me, I can blame it on the half of myself that I wasn't giving to the world. But if I'm being all of me and I give that to you and you reject me, that hurts. I think that's why a lot of people are afraid of public speaking, because public speaking is like psychologically undressing in front of somebody. It's my thoughts laid bare into the world. And if it doesn't resonate, that means I don't resonate. That means I don't matter. And so I highly recommend that you reframe rejection and you do it from a place of value, not for value, meaning you don't attribute people liking you, people following you, people uh, inviting you out for drinks, people including you in their social circles as you being more valuable. You start from a place of value. If you're able to do that, then you can handle rejection. Then you can handle pressures of life. Then you can handle correction, constructive criticism, and you'll become a better version of you. So I'm saying that because when we talk about mental health and we talk about self-esteem and being at our low, it's usually because of what other people have convinced us about ourselves. Okay. So somebody doesn't invite you out and it makes you think you're not valuable. And we have to separate that from our value and our worth, because I can't love me if I continue to put my value in the hands of something that's outside of my control.
Oh, amen. Can we just like pause? Because you just said, I think if that message alone gets out there,
Hmm.
that in itself
Game changer.
heals the planet.
Game changer.
Game changer.
Game
I mean,
changer.
literally. All right, let's just get off right now because there's nothing more to say.
No, seriously. I told people I want to do my next TEDx talk on and please don't steal this title, people. I'm gonna do it. I'm gonna call it Hey Misfits, Come Out of Hiding. The World Needs You.
I love that.
Because
I
it's
put
like,
on TEDx, by the way. Let's, in fact,
yeah.
let's do this. I mean, I think again, let's be in this co-creative state right now, because what happens is when you're loving yourself so much, all of a sudden this totally starts to create. I want you to deliver that,
Mhm.
when I have my May 2nd
Okay,
love fest. I mean, that
let's
in
do it.
itself is a love fest, and it starts with loving
Mhm.
on you.
Yeah.
It starts
Mhm.
with loving on you. It starts under your deep pain is your greatest treasure. And the
Mhm.
pathway, the portal is
Mhm.
through you to get there.
It is. And that's the beauty of it, because it's not dependent on someone else. The power is out of their hands and it's back into yours.
Thank God.
Oh, isn't that so exciting? So I don't have to wait to somebody to give it to me. I don't have to have a certain level of income to purchase it. It's all within me. So let me give some people, because here's usually what I get when we talk about this. There's two types of people. There's the stories, and there's the type A people. There's the straight to the point people. There's the we can talk story all day. So I'm gonna give you some really, really practical, a discipline that people can do if they really struggle with this area. Look in the mirror and start pointing out a bunch of stuff you like about you. So simple.
I tell my husband every day, I think I got cuter. I got smarter since my stage 4 breast cancer diagnosis. And he was telling me that before the show. We've been working at home. I cannot wait for you guys. Couple date, Darryl.
But
he was telling me earlier, he's like, babe, you look really good.
Oh man, I love it. I love it so much. But I want people to be on their side. And that's not arrogance. Like, I think sometimes we're so afraid of arrogance that we don't love ourselves. Like, I'd rather you fall on the side of arrogant and have to tell you to pull back a little bit than it's because it's much easier to pull an arrogant person to humility than it is to pull a person who has no self-esteem up. It is very hard, because a lot of times they have been conditioned for so long. Whereas people who fall into arrogance, it's usually recent in their lives. They had a recent success. They did a TEDx talk. Now they think they're the best thing ever. And it's like, all right, buddy, come on, slow it down a little bit. Like, you're here because of a million other people that helped you get here, like that type of thing. And so I find it's more challenging to get people to love themselves. And I think that's a practical way to start. Look in the mirror, point out all the things that you like about you. Even if it seems like a faith statement, even if it's a stretch of what your current beliefs are. For me, I say this all the time, I don't know where I heard it from, but sometimes you have to believe in somebody else's belief in you before you can believe in yourself. And I had to borrow somebody else's belief in me. So borrow ours. We believe in you.
And that, my friend, is a love fest.
It is.
It really, really is. It's like, if we can show up and feel like we don't have to have all the answers, we don't have to go at this alone. We absolutely, it's an inside job where we can start loving on ourselves, deeply. And when I was told, again, this 90-day thing, I found out, Darryll, that I was the biggest bully on my playground. I was the one that wasn't showing up for myself. I was the one that was being that type A personality and being a perfectionist, and everything had to be a certain way. And it's like, for what? Who are you doing it for? If you're not doing it for yourself. And then I realized it was like, out of 8 billion people on the planet, there's not one Michelle Patterson. There's not one Darryll Stinson. Think about it. There's only one of us.
Yes. So it, like, I don't know. This is so weird, because I feel like I'm talking to myself.
I feel like I'm talking to my. That's why I'm like, I love my new friend.
I'm like,
I'm like, I want to know who he knows, because he hangs with really good people.
And when you're a guy like him, you get used to knowing where people align, because you're a connector, and you get it. Get it. You're like, I mean, if you're not gonna refer people to a stage, an opportunity, a relationship that you're not like, it's gonna be mutually beneficial.
Absolutely.
You see what I'm saying? And so he does it so much, and it's a credibility thing, because if he recommends me, and then it's like I bomb and I'm selfish and I'm arrogant, it's like, no, his credibility goes down. And so when somebody makes a recommendation, a referral, it's because they already see some values that align. They already see some mutual things that both parties can benefit from. And so absolutely. So I feel like I'm talking to myself, but I so wholeheartedly agree with you. I really do. Like, I don't know if I should be interviewed or if I should be interviewing you at this point.
I just can't wait to meet your wife. We're going to have to set that up too.
So I have a question for you. Okay. And I would bring her in here, but She's probably not hair, makeup, all done up, and I
Oh
know.
my gosh. You know what would be funny? I mean, actually too, because my husband's hair is like, and he is so like with the camera goes on,
Yeah.
he's the complete opposite. Are you guys the same or opposite?
So we're completely opposite in every way, by the way. Like
Okay, in every way. Same.
every personality assessment, like, I mean, she's white, I'm black, she's short, I'm tall, like I'm athletic, she's kind of athletic, can't say she's not. She's like type A, I'm like super loving, she's straight to the point. I take all day to make the point. Like it's like we are complete opposites in every way, but that's why we make a good
Now,
team.
how long have you guys been married?
5.5 years almost now. Yeah.
Okay, very cool. And do you feel like you guys are in that groove? And I'll let me preface it with I spent the first, we've been married, I said 25 years, 23 years married, 25 years together. And I spent the first 5 years trying to change him to make him like me.
Isn't
And
that
it
funny?
didn't work, Darryll. He's
Don't
still
work.
the same.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I'm still the same.
Yeah. We're doing better. We're not there yet. In full transparency, we are not there yet.
I think I made him afraid for
Yeah.
like the first 20 years.
Yeah.
Because I'm such a big thinker and I'm a risk taker
Mhm.
and I'm not very conservative. And so
Mhm.
I'm going out there,
Yeah.
spreading, love fest. And he is a CPA accountant.
Oh gosh. Oh yeah.
But I like it like this. I feel like, and I can tell by the way you're talking too, and the way that you even wrote up your bio, is that we would not have it any other way. Like if I was married to someone like me, I would cry.
Yeah. Yeah.
I love how my husband is. I mean, I
Yeah.
love that he completes me. It's
Yeah.
like he's a perfect partner,
Yeah.
you
And
know?
you know what else? And I'll be curious to know your thoughts on this because me and my wife have been recently having this discussion because since the coronavirus pandemic happened, all of my out of person or in person speaking engagements got canceled. And so I started to do podcast tours and webinars and interviews and all that stuff digitally and virtually. And because it's so convenient, I can just turn on Zoom and camera and lights and just do it. I've been doing a ton of them. And so we had this conversation. I said this to her. I said, I didn't realize how much was in me. And here's what I would be curious to know your thoughts of, because the love fest, the personality, the joy we want to bring to the world, for a good period of time, probably the first 2-3 years of our marriage, she was the bucket that I dumped all that stuff in. And it wasn't bad stuff. It was good stuff. It was like, oh, I read this book. I had this quote on it. And it wasn't until I started speaking publicly and started doing, these tours that she got less and less of that. And so now she's like, I can actually handle the capacity of what you're giving to me. Because she's like, it's all good stuff. But at some point, I'm like, can we watch a show? Like, I don't want to hear about another book, a quote, a relationship, a person that you thought was amazing. And so I'm just curious, have you experienced that? Like, let me ask you the question.
Every single day.
Is the podcast and the Love Fest and the event part of your release?
So that is such a freaking good question. And I think that's why geniuses, I'm pulling us together, these thought leaders, these humanitarians, these individuals. I mean, for me, it's a waste of time, energy sometimes to watch a movie or do anything just relaxing and not trying to, share this message that I have. I mean, it's, because I'm so just passionate about God keeping me on the planet. I wasn't even supposed to have this birthday and turning 50. I was told I had 90 days to live. I had stage 4 breast cancer. I spent the first, couple months feeling like I was broken because I got in the marriage hit with the, I'm broken because I got a disease that was going to kill me. And Yeah, it's been a really amazing year, so much so that I wouldn't trade it for anything.
Mhm.
But I think going back to your thing is just having to have that balance of being patient with God, just letting go and letting God, and knowing that um, it's okay. It doesn't have to all happen today.
Mhm.
It really makes me sad that there are people out there that are being told, they have a diagnosis like I had. I refer to it as a WTF moment, and they
Mhm.
have nobody. They have nobody, especially right now.
Yeah.
People are home alone. I mean, they don't have what you and I have with a family that's
Mhm.
around us. I mean, they literally are by themselves
Mhm.
right now, alone, hearing, horrific things that are out there.
Mhm.
And I believe that we can create, a love fest, like we're doing now. I mean,
Mhm.
and having conversations. And I think, to your point, I really look to my husband, is that that person that's keeping me balanced,
Yeah.
so that I don't go overboard, um,
Right.
that I don't get frustrated,
Mhm.
that everything is coming exactly, as God planned.
Yeah. Yeah.
And it's okay.
Yeah.
It's okay.
Yeah. I agree. I told my, like, I think she does a lot, but the two primary things I'm the most grateful for is that she helps me to have fun. Because and it's not that I don't enjoy my life, I do, but I think so much of my desire is to give that I don't give enough to myself. I mean, it's like just the other day, I'm the mental health guy, right? Like take care of yourself. And my wife goes, "Hey, I think you need a mental health break. I think you just need to just like take a moment for you." I'm like, "No, I got an interview." And she's like, I think you need to take a moment for you." And I'm like,
I think it's times like this, though,
"Yeah,
is that you and I are on the phone, because we can say, I mean, I think I not even I think I know, I feel like I can say it to you,
yeah,
is she's right.
yeah,
Like,
oh yeah."
you know what I
She was
mean?
totally right.
I mean, think about it. I have been lying to my body, for years, so much so, I kept going into the doctors. They said I had a pinched nerve. And then I went back again, said I'm still feeling it. I don't feel good. Had started a company, sold it in 5 months. I mean, my business partner is a total rock star, and I were just cranking, but I didn't slow down. And my whole mindset was I wanted to be able to get cannabis, out to women.
Mhm,
And this is even before my diagnosis, where cannabis has been helping, and it
mhm.
reduced my tumors 52%. And so I
Wow.
just have been on this path. And lo and behold, I wasn't taking care of myself. I
Mhm,
would have another conference, I would have another event, I would have another. And what I found through this process is that if you, the messenger, if you, this megaphone,
mhm.
cannot deliver the message, then
Mhm.
nobody's going to get it.
Yeah. You know what's crazy about what you just said? So I'm big on self-reflection and meditation and prayer. And so I went on a jog before I called the day, just around our neighborhood, just to think, hey, what's the best thing I can bring to this audience? I always try to ask myself, like, because you can get in a routine when you share a lot of just like kind of saying the same things. And so I'm just like, what's the best thing that I can share? And you know what's funny? What kept coming to my mind, and I want to know if this resonates with you, is this concept of checking in on your strong friends. And I'll tell you the example that came to my mind. So one of my speaking engagements that got canceled was with the California State's Athletic Directors Association, because I help athletes transition out of sports. And so I was going to go talk to all these athletic directors about life beyond sports and about doing workshops and programmings to help their athletes prepare for the challenges that they'll face in their life after sports, because that's part of what caused my suicidal ideation, and it got canceled. So I sent it out to them and I was like, hey, let's still meet virtually. I got a Zoom account. I want to hear about how we can help you. We've helped people with laptops. We can do mental health huddles for your students. And then, hey, by the way, we can still do virtual workshops for you. When they got on the conference call, the Zoom call, my mind immediately shifted, because I read the room and I said, this is not about their students. This is about them. all these athletic directors don't have a place to go to. And when you are a public figure and when you are a leader, because you're always inspiring others, people assume that you're doing well. People assume that your mental health is intact, because you're giving so much in life. But it's the fact that you give so much is why you need to refill so often. That's really good. I think somebody should write that down.
Amen. It's a good thing that we're capturing this, because I think I could play that over and over and over again. And I think what you're hitting on, Darryll, that's so important. And that is that the folks that are out there that are our angels, that are front of the line, that are, they got a little broken wing right now. I mean, they're hurting. Ian, who's my doctor, we've got Liliana who's on, we've got all these different groups. I put together this amazing team, and I have him on Tuesdays, and then we do nutrition on Thursdays. He came on this week. His entire family has COVID-19. I mean, he looked.
I heard that. I was like, oh my gosh.
He looked. He didn't look, like himself. And this guy, we talk all the time. I mean, he's out there, saving individuals. He's got me on a protocol from Germany to help, with my stage 4 breast cancer, and actually to alleviate it completely and go into remission. He's giving. You're giving. And it's like right now, what I want for this Love Fest is for us to show up and really love ourselves and just breathe through it and just know that each of us have each other. We don't have to do it all, but that plug and play. So I commend you for saying, hey, let's have a Zoom call. Let's get everybody on the phone. I mean, let's get everybody on a Zoom call and let's talk about this.
Yeah.
It's not going away.
You want to know something really cool that we decided to do? It's called a no judgmental vent session. So one of our action items was not let's do workshops. It was this. I said, okay, based upon what I'm hearing from y'all, this is what I'm offering. I'll give you my cell phone number. I'll give you my personal email address. When you are frustrated, I want you to pick up that phone. I want you to just call, cuss, scream, yell, vent, and then just hit send. And hey, if you want me to respond, let me know. I will. If not, I'll just listen and then hit delete, because you get it from within you, outside of you. And so I just think it's so important.
I love that. I love that though, because even just the fact that you're putting that out there and letting people know you do not have to go at this alone. There are people who get you. We get it, and sometimes it comes across, and this is what I love about you, Darryll, is that there's no judgment. It's just like, I got you because I've been there. I hit bottom. Yeah. And I feel like that's the connection that we both have. It's like when we through something, you just don't want to have anyone else go through it feeling like we did, where there wasn't anybody. And thank God, you and I, we had people to reach out to us.
Yeah. And you do have to have a certain level of maturity to see people's weaknesses and doubts and still respect their gifts. Because, and I think that's the challenge for leaders, is how vulnerable can I be without losing respect and influence? And I know what we say, right? I know what we say. We say as leaders, model transparency, model vulnerability. But we also know that sometimes that lessens our impact, right? For instance, if I was doing a marriage conference, and at the marriage conference, I was talking about how horrible my marriage was, I would lose credibility. But what I say in facts might actually be helpful. So I'm not saying that we project a false sense of wholeness. I just think we have to be wise about when and how we share. And I think leaders need a space for that. I think we need more spaces for leaders and people with platforms to be able to take off the mask, to not worry about the business cards or signing autographs, and just be, and just enjoy, and just relax. Because I think that is going to really be a huge a shift in our world. And I think we have to start valuing that as people. Because here's what I see. I used to work for United Way and I did donor development. And the easiest thing to raise money for is somebody that has nothing. Easiest thing in the world. If this person has nothing, they're abandoned, they're abused, children are really easy to raise money for. But in my line of work, because I work with athletes, you'll be surprised about the amount of people who don't want to help because they think athletes are just fine. Like I help the person who doesn't have clean water because that seems more traumatic
Yeah.
than the leaders whose marriage is falling apart.
I get that. I absolutely get that.
But
Absolutely.
if you think about it, and it's not like one person's more valuable than the other. That's not my point because I don't believe that. Okay, I believe we all have the same value. Okay, but if I invest in a leader, I invest in everything connected to that leader. It's like if the captain goes down, what happens to the boat? And I think we have to start valuing our leaders a little bit more.
Well, and you made me think of something too, which is just it's horrible, but I live in Orange County,
Mhm.
and right on the Bay Area, there was, this has happened years ago, but somebody had committed suicide off of their balcony. And
Oh my God.
the most horrific thing, and here you are looking at a mansion, the most beautiful place, in the United States to live. And you've got, and what appears is, everything from the outside is beautiful and gorgeous. And we don't know what's going on in that home. We don't know what's going on for that person in that person.
Mhm.
And a lot of times too, it's and that's what the real share for us was all about, is so that individuals could come in and not feel judged or have fear tactics or
Mhm.
stigmas,
Mhm.
anything of those things. It's just to come together and have conversation like you and I are having, Darryl,
Right.
where it's just, we're past feeling judged. I mean, the shit has already hit the fan, people. We
Mhm.
were already in a place where things are not happening. My family, between what my daughter went through and being 23 nights, at Mission Hospital, to what I went through for this last year, and all of this, we've spent more days in the hospital than we did our entire 25-year marriage. And we're a solid family. I mean, we've been figuring things out and
Mhm.
communicating and continuously coming back. Nobody's going anywhere. We're working at it. And we had a hard time.
Right.
We had a hard time. So it's like, let's stop the the fabrication, and
Yeah.
let's get over ourselves.
Yes.
I don't have it figured out. You
Mhm.
don't have it figured out.
Mhm.
But together we can have it figured out.
Yes, exactly. It was like
We can have fun.
I remember being a young professional, and I still am, but early in my journey, like the first year, and I remember talking to my my boss, Sherry Knight. She was director of communications at Central Michigan University, and her writing is just like the best I've ever seen. It's like she's one of the best writers that I've seen, and I read a lot of books. And I wanted to learn everything from her. So I remember asking her, like, how do you do it? Like, she's got her communications firm. She's director of communications for a university in the global campus. Like, how do you do it? And I was expecting her to give like this like grand like explanation about her spreadsheets and her delegation process and all this stuff. And she said something that was so pivotal for me at that time in my career. She said, Darryll, I I just hope I don't miss something every day. I was like, what? Like what?
Brilliant.
You're my boss, like you're gonna tell me that? Like, I just hope she said, I just wake up and do my best and I hope I don't miss the wrong email. I'm like, well, are you serious? But it was so needed. Now, could she have given me tips and tactics and strategies? Yes. But I think she knew what I needed to hear because she saw a driven individual who was getting ready to kill himself trying to be perfect. And she gave me permission to be real. And she gave me a belief that you can be a high level leader and still have normal dysfunction. And that's so valuable.
And it's normal. There's nothing wrong with you. In fact, I think that's why we're on the planet, is so
Yeah.
that we go through this
Uh-huh.
and that we show up for ourselves and that we love on ourselves. And our job, this is what I was told, and I take it very, very seriously, was our job is to bring 100% joy into our lives.
Love it.
And if we're not doing that, that's our God-given responsibility. I mean,
Mhm.
we were put on the planet in this soul, in this body, to do this work. If we're not experiencing 100% joy,
Mhm.
then it's not working. you know,
And
you're not,
and I
you gotta love on yourself.
Michelle, I think joy is underrated. I think joy is drastically underrated because when people, I can't tell you how many times I talk about joy, happiness, peace, like these type of things, and it's almost like, oh, get to the real stuff. I'm like, no, that is the real stuff. Because if I don't have money and I don't have success and I don't have a platform, if I'm in quarantine, I can still have peace. I can still have joy. That is the good stuff. Without joy, you have no strength. Without peace, you cannot give to the world. Without love, you have nothing to give. If you don't have love to give, then you're automatically taking from people. So that is the real deal. And I just want to shift what we value. Because it's like I tell people this, like, here's how you know what you value. If I'm like, all right, I'll give you $1,000,000, and you like, whoa, yay, that's good. I would celebrate somebody getting $1,000,000 too. But if I'm like, hey, look, I've got a strategy that helps you have joy continuously, and you go, man, no, no, wisdom, joy, love, peace. This stuff is the real thing. I'll take that any day over wealth. I'll take that any day over accolades, over platforms, because of all of that. And that's, you got to understand, because so much stuff is about your perspective. So I get it. Like, I wasn't Michael Jordan, but I felt like I was. When I go to my hometown, everybody's asking for my autographs, and everybody's asking about us playing against Michigan State, and everybody's asking about #1 draft pick Eric Fisher and Antonio Brown. Like, when you go places and you feel like a superstar, it doesn't matter if it's my small hometown. I felt like I was Jordan, and so I felt like I was at the top. Not only that, I had to pay for my medical expenses out of pocket because the university wouldn't pay for them because they didn't believe that I should play Division I football after a back surgery. So I signed a liability waiver and I started selling drugs all throughout the state of Michigan to cover my medical expenses. And so I have street cred, I have money, I have fame, I have everything that a person would want. And then I lost it all.
Mm.
And I realized how fragile life is. And I realized what's more important, because I had all that stuff, but I didn't have self-love. I had all that stuff, but I didn't have esteem. In fact, I was using all that stuff to mask my low self-esteem. I know what it's like to be successful outwardly and be miserable inwardly. It's no place to live. Michelle, let me ask you a question. When's the best time to treat cancer?
Right now.
Right now.
Right now. Oh, I love that you asked that question because it
The,
tells me you get it.
the,
I
the,
love it.
the moment you detect it is the time to treat it.
And everybody, by the way, has cancer cells in their body. And that's why, for me, the message is so much about what you're talking about, Darryll. And that is, right now is the time to totally love on yourself. I
Mm-hmm.
mean, absolutely right now. What does it that little girl, little boy you need? I mean,
Mm-hmm.
what is it, that little self can feel safe and can feel held onto, because
That's powerful. That's powerful.
you're in you. You know what
Wow,
the answers are,
that's good.
right?
Can I tell you a story that so fits with what you just said? So I had this mindset coach. Her name is Dr. Stacy, and we were talking. Right, this is crazy. Listen to what she said to me. So we're talking. I'm a grown man. I'm not going to tell you when this was. I don't want you to know how recent it was.
That good, huh?
It was like 5-10 years ago. But
No judgment. No judgment. I love you. No
there was
judgment.
this period of time when I was in middle school, going into high school, where I started working with this skills coach in basketball that that developed Jason Richardson. And Jason Richardson, NBA player, and won a dunk contest. He was a tremendous athlete. And when I was in middle school, high school, this guy says, "Man, I worked with him, and you already have way more ability than he has." In the moment he said that, it was almost like everything in me shut down because I didn't believe that I was that great. And it was like I had a fear of success, that if I had that pressure to perform at that level, that I couldn't sustain it. So I shut it down. And that was a belief in a moment that happened to me in middle school, going into high school, that affected my life all the way past college. Watch this. This is how it relates to what you said. So when I'm talking to her, I was at a season of my life, okay, a couple years ago,
I got you. I got you.
where I'm like, man, I got all this stuff buzzing, and I can choose at this moment in my life to hit coast, or I can turn it up a notch and go beyond my limitation to something that's way bigger, to where like if it's not a miracle, it won't happen. And I said, I'm so afraid. And you know what she told me? She said, that's the same thing that little boy in middle school felt. And she said, what would you say to him to give him what he needed to push through to reach his maximum potential? And I was like, I wouldn't think of it like that. And what came out of my mouth is exactly what the adult version of me needed to hear. Now, it was a humbling reality that technically, psychologically, I was stuck in middle school. But who cares?
But who
Because
cares?
one statement got me unstuck. And now, I'm telling you, you and I wouldn't be talking if it wasn't for that conversation I had with her. I've just been coasting. I've been chilling.
That's brilliant, though. And I think that's so, well, two things. One is it really goes into Liliana Partita, who we're going to have come on in our last 5 minutes.
Mm-hmm.
But one of the things that she said to me, and she's my nutritionist, and she said, your immune system is that little 7-year-old. It's that little 8-year-old,
Yeah.
child in you.
Yeah.
And when we have flight and fright, when we feel like we can't, cope, our body lets off all these toxins. Our body lets and releases all this. And so that's why it's so important for you to be connected, with what are those triggers, what does come up. And then for you to look at that and say, you know what, no more. Like, I'm going to show up because I love myself, and I'm showing up for myself, and I'm going to not play small. I'm going to play big. And then here we are, together on this call.
Yeah. I love it. I was talking to Mike Zeller, who worked with Tony Robbins and Russell Brunson and Jay Abraham, and he's a business architect. And I asked him the question, what do you think is more important, a leader's core or a leader's skill? He immediately said a leader's core, because I can teach people funnels, automation, business practices. I can give them investment money. But if their mindset limits them, if their core isn't developed, they'll waste everything that they were given. So if you've been listening to us for the last hour and go, where's the tactics? Where's the business? Where's the strategy? Where's the stuff? I'm tired of this love stuff. You missed it, because this is your core. And out of your core comes everything you'll experience in life.
Thank you so much, Darryll. That was absolutely beautiful. And I'm like giddy right now, because it's like been a bonus Friday. I've got, a new friend I'm going to be meeting, your wife.
Yeah.
Tell me her name.
Her name is Brittany.
Brittany. Okay. So we're going to totally do a couple thing.
Let's do it.
I'm going to have you guys on for May 2nd for my Love Fest. Okay. And we'll do a blind couple dates. I cannot wait to meet her. And I feel like I've met another superhero. So welcome to the team.
Mm.
you know, my brother. I mean, seriously, welcome to this team. And you're amongst some amazing brothers and sisters.
Mm.
Dave Meltzer being one of them, Scott Duffy. I mean, I can start going down the list, Marcus Anderson. And then we've got Liliana, who is on mute. And Connor, I'm going to make sure I don't have, I'm going to go ahead and have you unmute her.
Hey, Liliana.
Hey, great to meet you. I want to be in that couples party that you guys are going to have.
Oh, you are. You already are on the list. She's got a phenomenal lover. Her lover is awesome. Her husband is this amazing artist and is just absolutely brilliant. So Liliana, what I want to do is really talk about what Darryll was talking about this whole time. And I actually quoted you in saying, you know, Michelle, your autoimmune system is that little 7-year-old, little 8-year-old you. And I want to talk about this because this is Friday where my friends call in, they jump online and they ask questions that are directly related to our nutrition and our wellness and our well-being. And I think, Darryll, what you just said is like right on. If you don't think that this was all about our wellness, then you missed the whole message.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, you know, I mean, one of the things you said, you know, you asked Michelle, you know, when would be the right time to treat, you know, cancer? And I always say, well, the best medicine is prevention. And so as Michelle said, that all of us, you know, have circulating circulating cancer cells, but if we keep our immune system highly activated, then it's able to detect and to destroy. And so I would say the number one causal effect is stress. And so again, if we can really be mindful about how our body is speaking, is it contracting, is it expanding, is it receiving, is it rejecting, you know, this is all really important on the prevention mindset. And then when one does get a diagnosis, is what you said before, there will always be a pearl of wisdom underneath our suffering. And if, you know, I work with a lot of patients because we have a probably one of the largest integrative medical centers in the country. And we have a big facility with a healing center there. And this is, you know, really the foundation of how we really work with people, is get them to look at the root cause of the emotions that potentially caused it to the organ system. And so again, I am a 100% believer, you know, you got to make your suffering your purpose and your passion, and be an ambassador to somebody else. Is, you know, just like, you know, what you're doing right now, Michelle, is just, okay, I'm going to take this, I'm going to bring it out to the world. I'm going to make it not so scary. It's not this boogeyman. Let's look right at it. And this is not a curtain call. It's a wake up call. And you know, what do we need to do? Right.
Well, I think too, adding to this is one thing that I learned over this last year is we don't have to have all the answers. We just have to ask individuals that we know, that we have as trusted advisors, you know, who to go to. And that's what this is all about, the real share. It's family to family. You know, I met you, Liliana, through your sister in Puerto Vallarta. Your sister would not leave me alone. She literally we followed each other, and we went around Puerto Vallarta experiencing wellness centers. And she kept saying to me, you have to meet my sister. You have to meet my sister. And that's how you've been. I mean, you've been a sister to me. And I think it's the same thing. Darryll's in the family now. You know, we've got, you know, Brittany, his wife, his three kids. I mean, this is about us coming together and really showing up as one family.
Yeah.
Collectively together and sharing what we know. And Darryll, I'd love for you to share with Liliana, because you brought up, we talked about opioids. We talked about just the broken systems that we have right now that are happening, you know, not only in the United States, but all over. I mean, we're in a massive crisis because you have Mother Earth, who is like, okay, everybody's going home for a timeout. Every single one of you is sent home for a timeout. I mean, how do we navigate through this without going crazy? I mean, literally.
Yeah, you know, well, the medical system is broken. And again, if it's not a drug they can't fix it with, then they're going to call it some fibromyalgia or some, you know, issue, depression. And so this is the sad part about it, is that they're really not going back to, let's start with ground zero. What are you eating? How do you love? How do you think? You know, what are your belief systems? And just really kind of, once again, you know, why do we want to get out of our bodies? And we're in pain, but what kind of pain is it, right? It's a little cute little thing.
Oh,
You're gonna have to sing us a song now.
So Darryll, maybe we might have a performance right now.
There you go.
I wanted you guys to be in here when you play your song so she can feel awesome.
Oh, hi, love. So Darryll introduced me to this aspiring artist here. Who is this?
She's so happy. Look at her.
Well, you can tell she's got a lot to say. How are you?
She said, "How are you?"
Good
Good.
to meet you. What's your name?
Ava.
Ava? That's my niece's name too. Do you spell it A-V-A? How's it spelled?
AVA.
Oh, the right way. You spelled it. That's exactly how my niece spells it. Yeah, her name is Ava Susanna Rosanna Banana Dana. That's what her auntie Shell calls her. So Ava, I love that name. Your dad's pretty awesome. He was telling us about you earlier.
I was.
I saw the video.
Oh, you did. Well, wonderful. Well, we're getting ready to dance. Are you gonna lead us? And we're actually getting ready to dance. There's some music coming on.
You feel like your problems is too dark and you don't know how you're gonna make it through. I'm here to tell you that.
We don't need hope. This is for the kids that don't know. All we gotta do is hold on. You know we all need hope. This is for the kids that don't know. All we gotta do is hold on. You know we all need hope. This is for the kids that don't know. All we gotta do is hold on. You know we all need hope. This is for the kids that don't know. All we gotta do is hold on.
Hold on to your faith, don't let nobody shake it. And if they talk about your clothes, don't even let it faze you. And if they talk about your looks, don't even pay attention. You ain't gotta listen, they entitled to their own opinion. Here's what I discovered, it's the people who talk bad about everybody else do it to feel better about themselves. So just be you and don't you worry about a thing. The storm's gonna come, but dance in the rain. Keep your head up, cause life will try to push you down. Every smile is just a frown, turn upside down. So count your blessings, you got the power to